Hello, welcome to the Data Science with R. In this discussion, we will now move to the Unit 6 part, that is decision trees. So, what exactly we can do with an exit of a decision tree was to go for classification or either to do a prediction. So this was the first aim or first intention why we will go with the decision trees. This is point number one. Next point. When we say it is a decision tree, it falls in the supervised learning. So this is the first and foremost takeaway element. When we call it as a supervised learning, we mean to say the class names or labels are known. The class label is known, then we will call as the classes is, label is already known. Now to which we have to classify, to which we have to assign, that job is going to be an easy aspect. Now, one of an example of such supervised learning, we call it as a decision trees. So decision tree is also going to be called as a prediction tree. And what it is going to do is it is going to specify the decisions and it is going to specify the consequences. This was the intention. So we have some input, and the main aim was to predict what will be the output of a variable. So obviously the output variable we are going to call it as a response variable. So we have some x1, x2, xn. These are all we call it as an input variables, and the response variable we are going to call it as an output variable, where we need to classify or where we have to go for prediction. While doing prediction, it sees that it is going to be achieved by constructing a decision tree, and at any point of time of the decision tree, there will be some test points and there will be some branches. There will be a test point and there will be branches. Now we need to get some decisions, we need to get some rules from this. So that is where we need to pick up a decision and we need to traverse it down the tree, and eventually what we need to was we need to see that a prediction is going to be made up with the decision items. Next one was regarding the decision rule. The next item what we are going to take was the decision rule. So the input decision what we are going to talk will be either a categorical variable or will be a continuous variable. So when we are going to call it as a categorical variable, we will call it as numerical variable. Sorry, when we are going to call it as a categorical variable, we will call it as a character or a string data type. But whereas a continuous variable, we will most probably look with the real numbers or some numeric values. So that is all regarding the decision it is going to happen. And how a decision tree is going to build up was there will be some test points, and it will be at the intermediate nodes right from the root node, then we call it as a middle node. So this middle node, there we will have the test point, and that's where the most important part, the decision is going to play up a thing towards classifying the element. So as far as the labels are going to be concerned, they will represent the class labels or the classification to be segmented, etc. And they do have some probabilistic score. So based on the probability, we will check whether it belongs to the class X or whether it belongs to the class Y, whether it belongs to the label X or whether it belongs to the label Y. In this model, we will look up towards the decision making. So now what we are going to do is we say if statement, and if this condition was true, that is income was like this, the condition was true, and second thing was the value, that whatever the condition we are taking, that is condition 1 and condition 2, they are going to be happening, then by default the default is equals to true. So this default, what we are going to call it as an output. So how is this output railed up? This output is going to be railed up with a probability. So how much confidence, with how much support we are able to build up this rule, we are now navigating it to the direction with a probabilistic value. Fine. Now coming to the decision trees, how exactly we can derive a decision tree was, it can be some set of classification trees, or it can be with drawn up with some set of regression trees also. Okay, so now to what this decision tree can be applied. So in general, decision tree mostly people will apply for a categorical item. Often it is going to be binary. It can be 0 or it can be 1. Like it can be yes or it can be no, purchase or not purchase. So you need to give some objective answer. I mean, is a true or false answers. So where the categorization will be more simpler form. So that is why we say it is applicable to categorical. But in general, decision trees can happen to a numeric value, nor it can be applicable to the categorical also. That is what. So that is where we are going to say decision tree, when it is going to be applied to the classification tree, then we call it as work with a categorical data. But when it is going to work with a numerical, then it is with a regression tree, then it is going to take up with numeric or some real numbers, etc. So that is what this regression tree is going to happen. And obviously, when we say it is a regression, the most important thing was we can predict the buying habit of a customer. We can predict what will happen to the next consequent event. And if there is an example that whether a person will subscribe to a mobile company or not, so that item it is going to be predicted. So now here is what a simple decision tree we are going to build up. So this decision tree, it is just going to predict whether a customer will buy a product, yes or no. So we take up a decision tree, and thereby we will see that whether a decision will happen or not. For that, we are going to take up the gender as an attribute. There we call it as a root node, and thereby we do have this branching of an item. So in this branch, we will derive gender classes. That is, we will call labels, or we will call it as classes. That is, either it is a female class or it is going to be a male class. So now the intermediate things are going to happen. So at this point of time, we are going to say depth is given as a 1. Again, we will predict that whether the income is greater than $45,000 or whether the income is less than $45, and similarly whether the age was less than 40 or whether the age was greater than 40. So in this model, we are going to have some rules here. So gender is male and his age is less greater than 40, then what was the item we need to say. So again, we have yes and no. We call it as some classes, or we are going to call it as labels, and these they are going to apply at the leaf node. So we have at the depth item is equals to 2. So that is how we refer to the branching. So gender, income, years. So this is all what we call it as a branching item. So we have this internal nodes as mentioned. So these internal nodes, we are going to call them as a decisions, or we are going to call them as a test point. The top element gender, what we are going to call, this is called as a top element, or we are going to call it as a root element. So next comes, we need to split the branching nodes. So that is where it goes up with the rule 1. So we call that where the split is going to happen. So that split we are going to call here as a branching. So middle node, we start with 1, we call it as depth. Then we will move to the next step where we have the leaf nodes. So leaf nodes, yeah, they are going to give up the decisions. They are going to build up the decisions to take whether to go or not go. So in this way, the depth of a node, it is going to be the minimum number of steps required to reach to the node. So there we say depth is equals to 1. And finally, we have the leaf nodes. Yeah, they are going to give up the last branches, etc. And obviously, what they are going to do is they are going to predict the outcomes. They are going to predict the decisions, etc. So we will see that the from the root to the leaf node, they are going to contain some series of decisions. So by this series of decisions, we will look whether to act or whether to predict. So whether the model is going well or not. So there is the first type of decision tree. Now we will call here as a binary type of a decision tree. So in this binary type of a decision tree, which it is going to have a S predicted value, a no predicted value. So if such is the case, now we will go with a word called as a decision stump. So decision stump, exactly we will say there is depth is equals to some only 1. So there is what we can say that we are able to derive the answers, the labels, even at the depth 1, the next level itself, that is very immediate or very intermediate to, and the leaves nodes are connected very nearly, or we can say that. So now this is even predicting whether it can be yes, or it is predicting whether it is going to be no. Fine. Now let us see this. There is a bank called as a Portuguese bank, and in this Portuguese bank there are some 2000 instances in a database. So there are some 2000 rows, and now there are variables. You can see here job followed by marital status, followed by education, followed by default, followed by housing, followed by teams, followed by contacts, followed by P outcome, followed by the subscribed yes or no. So now we are going to have 2000 rows, and we are going to have 9 columns. So what is the size of the data set? Means I can say the size of the data set. So size of the data set, we are provoking it as 2000 into 9. So around 18,000 way of instancing looking towards the objects based on the 18,000 values assumptions. So the machine should interrupt all the 18,000 entries, and thereby it has to give up a decision. So it is not so easy task to classify. It is not so easy task to build up a decision tree. So now coming to the data types, right? So now we are going to have the first one as a job. So job, it was some manager, some services, some entrepreneur. So there are some departments what we are mentioning. The second one, we are going to call it as a marital status, whether it is a single or whether it is a married or whether it is a divorced. So the different categories in the marital status, and followed by the education. So whether it is schooling, whether it is tertiary, so whether it is post graduation, so what type of education it is going to have, etc. And then there is a value which is related to some numeric value. So we are going to have this default. Again, it is again a categorical value here. So whether it is by default, whether he has a credit, yes or no, yes or no, we are going to get these values. And similarly, the person, whether he has an existing house loan, yes or no, again we have this categorical value. And then categorical value. So again, the housing loan. And the next one was whether the person is going to have a personal loan. So there are some instances where the person is going to have some personal loan, yes, personal loan, no, in this way. And the next one is the contact. So how the person is going to be contacted, whether by a cellular phone, whether a landline phone. So what he was carrying out and how we can reach to him, etc. And thereby whether the person he has subscribed to some term deposit for a bank. So that means the question was here, first we need to look before we are reading the data set here. So the question what it was mentioning was the goal is to predict. The goal is going to be predicting the client who has subscribed to a term deposit or not, whether he has made some term deposit or not. So this is the key item what we are going to estimate. So for that you can see some person he has subscribed, some person he has not subscribed. So the bank is going to see this person is having home loan, this person is having personal loan, and this person he is using a mobile phone, he is using a landline phone. So it is doing multiple ways of verifying or analyzing of the data, and finally it comes to an output variable that whether the person he has already taken a term deposit. If he has already taken a term deposit, we mean to mention subscription is equals to true, and if he has not done it, then the subscription we are going to call it as no. And finally, the results of the previous marketing campaign. So we call it as a outcome. So earlier in the marketing campaign, whether this person he has subscribed to term deposit. So whether it is known to the bank, yes or no. So some, instead of putting it as null value, so people are going to give some unknown. So now unknown class, it says it is a median class, whether the person, whether he has taken it in the previous marketing campaign, yes or no. So you need to verify it. So that is where the outcome is going to be derived. So now here you can see that now we need to predict whether the person he is going to subscribe to a term deposit or not. We need to do. So first of all, we will see that this person 900, we have some 2000 records. We are going to have 2000 records in the data set. And this 2000 what you can look at was we have people who have housing loan is 916, who is not going to have housing loan. Okay, who is having house loaning was some 1084, not having was 916. Similarly, who has taken some personal loans, 283 has taken, 1717 people has not turned. And similarly, people who are going to use mobile phone out of 2000 is 1287, and who are using the landline phones is some 136, and the information is not provided due to some missing values, etc. So those we call here as an unknown. And next we can see the outcome. So whether the previous marketing campaign, whether they were able to make him success to go for a term deposit, yes or no. Similarly, to understand the unknown, whether he has taken or not, that missing data is there. And similarly, whether he has not taken some deposit and others. So in this way, there are some 4 tabs which are pertaining to the P outcome. And finally, we are going to say subscribed. So subscribed, what it is telling was whether the customer has taken term deposit. Yes, term deposit, no. So you need to give. So in this no, it is saving 1789. Yes, it is going to leave 211. So total we are going to have the data set size is some 2000. Okay, now coming to the job. So it can be admin, it can be management, it can be student, it can be technical, it can be a housemaid, it can be some services, and you don't know, entrepreneur, self-employed, unemployed. So different categorical item the job is going to provide. And similarly, in the 2000, 228 people they have already divorced, and there are married people of 1201, and who are unmarried singles are 571. In this way we are going to take up. So by default what we have given that attribute was that if his credit rating was good or not, you need to give. So his credit rating was not bad. So yes or no, we are going to give 1961 and 39 people. So in this way, we are going to build it up. Now for the same, we are now taking up a decision tree here. So in this decision tree, we have some 2000 subscribers. Okay, 2000 users. In this 2000 users who have not taken or not subscribed to um, term deposit. So how many are there? We are going to have some 1789. So you can say not, that is not subscribe or not having term deposit. Okay, so these people we are going to have some 1789 outing. So you can leave 211 yes, and 1789 we are going to have no. So this is what we are building. Now in this 1789 people, the people who had failure or people who are other, who are unknown. So P outcome, it is the previous champion outcome. Previous champion outcome we are going to have. So we say it is no. So we have no, and then who had success, that means who has taken or who has subscribed. So where we are going to say it is success, who has subscribed earlier. So these people we are going to call it as yes. So now 1763 plus 32, we are going to have this value 1789. So we get this value. So 1763 here and 32. We now had the depth 1. We are writing depth 1. Next one, we go with the depth is equals to 2. Now we stem with the item 32. So who are going to have education up to secondary or tertiary, or who are achieving education only up to primary and unknown. So we have the division, that is 26 and 8. So 32 is equals to some 26 plus 8. We are going to have these many number of elements. And the next one, now the question was, what is this 1942? What is this 50? Yeah. So what is this 58? How we are getting this and 50 and 8? But it is mentioned here. So we mentioned that there is an S class, right? So S class was 216, 211. In this 211 also we have people as outcome is equals to failure and others unknown. So that tree was added. Got it? So here we are going to say 58. How did you tell 58? So why did we get only 32? What happened to the rest? So what happened to the rest was they are in 211 who were told as yes, and still their P outcome was success. So that is the reason why the tree is going to give 58. So that is the difference what we have to understand at this point of time. So now we can say this is 1942 plus 58. So we have the total 2000 instances. Similarly, I can have 58. So 58 is equals to some 50 plus 8, what we are mentioning. Fine. Next, we will move to the depth is equals to 3. That is what we call it as a leaf node. And we say job, he can be admin, he can be manager, he is a retired, he is technician. So there are 4 roles. So how many are there? 26 people. These are in no's. In yeses, there are some other people. And similarly, if the job was self-employed, student and unemployed, it is classified as 5. So now how I'm going to get this 26? So how I'm going to get this 26 was, first of all, how I'm going to get this 45 and 5. So we get this as 50. So we project the value as 50. Now 26 and 5, we get 31, right? But why did I get this 31? Wow, the exemption is only 26, right? But you are going to have this S value, right? The S value is also going to be propagated in the tree. That is the reason why there was some differences. Next comes the bank marketing data set. So in this bank marketing data set, what we have already told was we have 1763 out of 1942 clients who has not subscribed. Just as look into this 1963 out of 1942. So these people, they have not subscribed to the fixed deposit. So that is what the given scenario. So we need to split the tree, we need to understand the reasons, etc. So we need to go attribute by attribute, step by step, and we need to determine the entropy and info gain. When we are going to call it as an entropy, when we are going to call it as info gain. So info gain, it refers to purity of data measure, and entropy, it measures impurity in data, and it is also going to be a measure. So that was the key takeaway between the two terms. One, we are going to call it as an entropy, another we are going to call it as info gain. So info gain we will deduct with statistically in the next slide, that is 1 minus entropy. So we will get some purity, how much purity the data is going to have. So obviously when we look at this tree, the very first thing, where did we split? We split the tree at P outcome with the classes failure, other, unknown as one set of class, and success as another set of class. So there we have divided the tree. Now the question was, why did you divide at that only? Why not other attributes? Why not, there are other categorical variables? Why don't you start with that? Why did you choose P outcome as a starting value for the decision tree to happen? The reason was we are calculating the entropy, we are calculating the info gain with statistical formulas based on the values, and if the info gain is very, very high, we will retain that value. If the info gain value was low, then we will discard that value. So in the coming slides, I will try to make you clarify regarding these two terms called as an entropy and info gain. So now let us look at the general algorithm structure. So this general algorithm, what it is going to do is it is going to give up an objective of a decision tree, and it is going to be constructed with T, and training set is going to be called as S. So that is the very first and foremost condition, that a decision tree, it is going to be constructed with T, and that with the tree, and tree is named as T, and the set, that is what we are going to consider for the machine learning inference. So we call that as a training set here. The next thing was, if all the records in the training set, whether they belong to subscribed, yes. So we need to look. So in order to do that, first of all, we need to look at the purity of the node, that it is going to correspond to the probability of the corresponding class. So really, whether they subscribe yes or whether they are subscribed no, we need to measure. So from the example what we told, we have 2000 instances of database. Next what we told not subscribed, and we told subscribed to term deposit. So not subscribed people, it is 1789. 1789. Who has subscribed? So it is 211. So we have not subscribed and we have subscribed, we get this 2000. So that is how the thing is going on. Now I want to see how much purity this node is going to have. So the entire tree, how much node people who has answered my question. So my question was, how many subscribe? Just I want only that. So out of the 2000 instances, only 211 people they subscribe. What is this percentage? We are going to call it as 10.55. So 211 by 2000. So we get this as some 10,055. So these people, they are going to be subscribing to the term deposit. So that is why we call their class is equals to X. So how did I get it? Subscription is equals to yes, that is equals to 1 minus 1789 divided by 2000. We are going to get this 10.55. Other else we can say 211 by 2000. So that's the another way what we are going to bring the scenario. And conversely, what is going to happen? It is going to happen that 89.45 people, they have not subscribed. So to that only we are going to build up this graph. So not subscribed only we are going to build up this graph. So we started build up this tree. So we have started with no item, then we said people with 89.45%, 89.45%, they are going to say that they are not subscribed. So to that we have derived this tree. So for them we say the subscription is no. So what we have done is we made 1 minus 7899 divided by 2000. Therefore we got this 10.55, the same value what we are talking it about. So how we are going to build the algorithm? So we are going to call the number of records, they are going to be called as yes. Class we are going to call it as subscribed, that is yes class or no class. We do get these values. Thereby we are going to get these attributes. So attributes, we have duration, we have marital status and so on. So all these, they are going to be represented with the attribute A. And we do have some subtrees called as T1 to Tn. So that is all what we are going to represent. And now how we should analyze the tree, how we are going to analyze the tree. So what we mentioned was, we mentioned the three important components. One we call it as a root, another we call it as an intermediate, there we call it as a branch where we are going to make some decision, and these four items we call it as some leaf node. So leaf node, so these are called as decision points, and leaf nodes, they make decisions. So now when we talk about the leaf node, we need to tell that they are going to have the maximum purity of the threshold. They are going to give up the maximum purity of the threshold, and the tree, it is cannot be further split. So this is the max value. So we came to a class to tell whether it is yes, we came to a class whether it is no. From that onwards, we cannot split. So that is the last element what we are going to tell. So that is the reason why we cannot further split. That is what the minimum purity of the threshold is going to happen. So there the tree is going to have some stopping criteria, and that is going to reach to the maximum depth. Fine. Now we talked the architecture of the decision tree. Now let us see what will be the things for the entropy, what will be the things for the info gain. So as far as the entropy is going to be concerned, so it takes some set of informative attributes, and then entropy, it is going to see that it is a measure of, it is going to be the measure of the impurity of an attribute. But when we are going to call it as a info gain, so it is going to measure the purity, right? So we have 2000 data set, then we have subscribe yes, subscribed no, it is 1789, it is 211. So this 211 we call it as info gain, and 1789 we call it as entropy. Why did you do that? Question: how many subscribe? This was the question. So as this is the question, we have to say 211. So how many subscribe? So the purity was, I am going to have 211 value. The impurity was, I do have some 17, 18, because maybe the conditions are good, maybe the factors are good in the intermediate decision points, but of course the end outcome is whether the person has subscribed, whether the person has not subscribed. So it is a binary classification. Yes or no, it's an objective question we need to answer. So picking up the impurity part, we call it as an entropy. Picking up the true part, we are going to call it as a info gain. Fine. Now let us start working with the entropy and how exactly I can say the attribute is impure, how exactly I can say the attribute is pure. So that we need to understand. So in order to dig deep to this measure, we are going to work with the entropy value. So in this entropy value, what we are going to take was, we take the class X, and X, it is going to belong to a label and with some probability of X. Now what we are going to tell was this entropy is going to be of X. So we measure it as h of x. So h of x, it is going to become to 0. So we mean to say that entropy, when it can be become to, when it is becoming 0, now I can say the probability is either 1 or 0. So this is the rule what we are going to tell. And second thing, entropy, it can be applicable to the binary classifier, and the second one, that it can reach to a maximum entropy when hx is equals to 1. So I am going to say hx is equals to 0, we call it as minimum. Hx is equals to 1, we call it as maximum entropy. So that is how we are going to measure. When there is a probability of class, yeah, of course we can say it is 50-50%, and obviously they are going to impact the outcomes what they are going to be needed. So holistically what we told was, the formula for the entropy, was, we are going to call it as h of x is equals to minus sigma for all the labels belongs to the class x, and the probability of x into log base 2 for the probability of x. So this was the formula what we are dealing with an entropy, and using this formula within the attribute, within the given informative attribute, we can measure the purity, we can measure the impurity hidden into that value. Fine. So now let us see how we are going to compute the value. Yeah, I have computed the value as 0.4862. How did you get it? I got this 0.4862 using h of x is equals to minus sigma for the label x to the class x, and probability of class X log base 2 to the probability of class X. So we are doing this formula over the data set what we have mentioned, that is the banking data set. So this banking data set, the outcome what we are going to measure was the outcome is going to be treated as subscribed. The outcome is going to be treated as subscribed. So now for the first one, we have to define the base entropy. So it is going to define an entropy of an output variable that is subscribed. So what was the final outcome, whether it is subscribed or not? So that we call the item as base entropy. We call the base entropy. Fine. So how we are going to do this base entropy here was we are going to compute the H with subscribe. So we are going to use the value who are going to be subscribed, that is 0.1055, and who are not going to be subscribed, that is 89.45. How did you get these values? Where did you got these values? So let us start again. So total is equals to total database size or data set size. Total data set size is equals to 2000. What it did, it done subscribed and it done not subscribed. How many it told? 1789. So this is 1789. So 2000 minus 1789. How much we are going to get? We get 211. So the subscription value, it is going to be 211, and not subscription value, it is going to be 1789. So how much is this 211? This it is going to imply 211 divided by 2000 into 100. We are going to get it 0.1055. Similarly, 1718 divided by 100 divided by 2000 into 100, we are going to get it as some 0.8945. So these are the two values what we are going to write up. These are nothing new to us. Only the thing is we are converting from the percentages to the fraction part. Fine. So we have computed that formula and shown that formula here. And next, what we are going to do, what we have to do, we have to see that h of x, that is the entropy, is equals to sigma for the label to the class value, the probability of x with log 2 to probability of x. So how you are going to compute? So I have to compute the base entropy. So how you are going to compute the base entropy? I am going to compute it with minus. Where did you get this minus? Minus is in the formula. Next one. Next. So it is 0.1055. Where did you get this? I got this 2000 size. 211 are correctly satisfied. Then the percentage is 1055. So I got this 1055 minus 0.8945. Why did you write this? Where did you get this? So I got this as 2000. In this, it is non-subscribed. So that is 1789 divided by 2000 into 100 is equals to 0.8941. So that is the reason why I wrote this. And as I have to substitute in the formula p of x into log 2 of p of x. So p of x, I'm going to get this value as 0.45. So that is why I am repeating for 2 times. Holistically, I computed, and now the base entropy was 0.4862. So this is the stage 1 answer. This is the stage 1 answer, and this stage 1 answer, we are going to call it as base entropy. Can we stop with base entropy? No, we cannot stop with base entropy. Base entropy will be followed by conditional entropy. Base entropy will be followed by conditional entropy. So how you are going to do conditional entropy? Yeah, I can do the conditional entropy with h of subscribed along with the subdivisions in subclass, subdivisions with the subscript. So I will talk about this in the next slide. So first of all, let us see the formula for conditional entropy. So how I am going to get a conditional entropy was I am going to get an attribute x and it is affecting the output of y. So how is it affecting? It is affecting with an entropy base, that is the condition x divided by the base entropy. So condition y divided by the condition x. What is x? X is nothing but the base entropy, what we are going to formally define. Okay, fine. So now the previous equation what we are working, that is minus sigma from the attribute, that is the label to the attribute probability of class x to log base 2 of class x. Well, the same thing we are going to get it again, but we are reforming with the conditional entropy with h of y by x is equals to small x. Small x we are going to call it as a label there. Fine. So now we are going to subdivide this as we have the main formula. So for the h of x we got this entire value. So this entire value we are now promoting and we get the final equation as equation number 7.2. Fine. Now let us continue with the same banking marketing scenario, and we work on an attribute called as a contact. We work on the attribute called as a contact and assume contact is equals to x. So x is going to have a cellular operator, people who are carrying mobile phone, people who are going to have landline, and there is a missing value, and that missing value we are going to call here as an unknown. So now contact is going to be called as a categorical value. Contact is going to be called as a categorical value. So this categorical value is now is having three types. One we are going to call it as cellular, two we are going to call it as telephone, three we are going to call it as unknown. So three items are going to be there. Now coming to this contact, now we are going to have probability of contact, that is what we call it as base entropy. So entire thing is going to come into picture. We call it as base entropy. Next one, we take up with the subscription yes, subscription no for the contacts. So what are contacts? Contacts with cellular phone, contact with telephone, contact with unknown. So these three categories are going to be provided to the subscriber. So when we are going to draw up a decision tree, we take the first attribute as a contact and the second attribute we are going to call here as subscription. So what we are going to do is we say subscription is equals to some h of x and contact we are going to call it as h of y. One we are going to call it as h of x and another we are going to call it as h of y. So what we do with this is we are going to work on the conditional entropy. So what is the formula to estimate the conditional entropy? We are going to have minus sigma from the label to the class to the variable that is x to the probability of class x to with the same implies to the second item, that is one if I am assuming it as a contact, another I am going to assume it as subscript. If it is subscribed, then I can say there are two subdivisions here. One I can say it is yes, another I can say it is y. So in this model we are going to build up the content. So first of all we need to have the entropy, that we are defining it as a conditional entropy. So to which attributes we are applying? We are applying to subscript, we are applying to contact. So that is what we are writing. So subscript again we are going to have yes and no. So that will be taken up and followed by the second value what we are going to bring up. So one we are going to call it as h of x by another we are going to call it as h of y. So now let us look into these values. Contact values, we have 64% of cellular, we have 13% of subscriber yes and contact is equals to cellular, and subscriber no and people who are carrying the contact with the cellular phone was 0.8601. Similarly, people who told they will subscribe to the bank but they are going to have telephone. So what is this telling? It is telling people who have term deposit. What we call? We call it as subscribed is equals to true and people who have only telephone and people who are going to have only telephone. So we got this 0.0809. So that's where we are bringing up the scenario. So next one, next one was we look up with subscription is equals to no. So what is this telling up? This is telling up subscription is equals to no, implies don't have a term deposit. They don't have a term deposit, but they have cellular phone. They are going to have a cellular phone. So in this way we are bringing up the scenario, and finally we got this h of x by y. How much is the value? We call it as conditional entropy. We are going to have this value as conditional entropy. So how much we got? We got this as 0.4661. Almost 46% people, almost 46% people who have a contact and who have subscription. That means people who have cellular phone, people who have telephone, and people who says the unknown. These people, they have already taken a term deposit, yes or no. The holistic value, how much we are going to get? The holistic value, we are going to get this as 0.4661, implies 46.61% of the 2000 instances they are going to have. Now, the first and foremost condition, what we have to see that when we are going to work with a conditional entropy, it is always less than or equal to base entropy. So conditional entropy, we are going to say h of x by y will always be less than or equals to h of x, will always be less than or equals to h of x. H of x, we are going to call it as base entropy. We are going to call it as base entropy. Now, we have entropy which was talking about impurity, So how can I measure purity? How can I get purity? You can get the purity with InfoGain. We can get the purity with InfoGain. So how we are going to get the purity with the InfoGain was, we will see that the subscribed people minus conditional entropy. That is what I can say. We can say it is base entropy minus conditional entropy is equals to InfoGain. InfoGain will give the purity of data. So this, it is going to be measured in the percentage value. So now what is h of s? What is h of s? So let us go back to the previous slide. I want to find h of s. So h of s we computed. How much is the computed h of s value? We got it as 0.4862. So 0.4862, we are going to call it as the base entropy, that is h of subscribe. So we have shown this value. Next one. 0.4661. Where did you get this value? How did you get this value? So I got it from the conditional entropy. How did you get the conditional entropy? I got it from the subscriber is equals to no, subscriber equal to yes, and followed by unknown items. I divided, and thereby I made a tree with 3 decisions. Subscription is equal to yes, subscription is equal to false, and I computed h of x divided by h of y. Therefore, I got the value as 0.4661. So 4661. Now, what is purity? So purity of data. So how much is the purity of the data? It is 2%, right? It is almost 2%. That is going to be the 0.0 0201. So this is what we can say the info gain over the contact was 0.0261. I just explained in interest of time for only one attribute. I just explained in interest of time for only one attribute. The formula what we have shown to compute info gain, the formula what we have shown to compute conditional form entropy, the formula for what we have shown to compute the base property has to be iterated to all the 9 values, all to be iterated to all the 9 columns. So in the beginning we told that data set size was 2000, and that means there are 2000 records. In 2000 records, how many fields are there? Every record is going to have 9 fields. So what are those 9 fields? Outcome, contact, housing, job, education, marital status, and loan, and followed by the default, and ID we are going to skip. We don't do any analysis for the customer ID, etc. So now to these contents, I have shown you to compute an info gain only for contact. I have shown you the only for the contact, that is 0.0201. What we have to compute? We have to compute for all the 8 or 9 attributes, which is impossible for us to take it in a stipulated period of time over 2000. The data set I have taken is only 2000, but data set can be 10,000, 20,000, 10 lakhs, 1 lakh. So it can be vast volumes of size. At that time, the normal for loop, the normal if loop, the normal the while loop, they will not address the iterating content efficiently. So that is the reason why people employed the machine learning algorithms. So it can be self-motivated and it executes on its own. Once the formula has been given as an input, the machine will learn itself, understand the algorithm to its natural way, and thereby it starts computing this info gain as iterated for one value, it was iterated to the entire set. So now info gain, yeah, it is going to bring up the purity, and it sees that the split is going to be happening correct or not. That is, you have the parent node, and from this parent node then it has to dig to the middle node. So whether the split of an item, split of node is correct or not is decided by the info gain, So you can see here the values. Another outcome was info gain value must be high. Info gain value must be very high. Then only we can split a tree, right? I have 9 attributes. I can break the tree at any point and I can draw any conclusion and I can get the any decision tree. No, it is not possible. It has to be done very technically. It has to be done very statistically. How statistically was the info gain what we are going to check? It is 0.289, which is high. So that is the reason why P outcome we started the split. We started the split of the tree. So info gain should be low by default. We cannot consider the default value. So that is what the point takeaway we should understand while taking up the split. Next, how to detect there was a significance in the split. The next item was, how can I split with a significance? How can I predict? Okay, at this point only I have to split. How can I know it? Yeah, you can know it, but it has to be taken up with an example like this model. So I'm going to have NA and NB. These will be the number of classes, and A and B in the parent node. So what is class here? I can say yes is a class, no is a class. Okay, yes is a class, no is a class. Now I have this value in this model. I can call left and I can call it as right. One element I call it as left, another element I call it as left. I call class A left, AL, class A right, I call it as AR. Okay, now you need the conversions, AL, AR. Now you know the conversions, got it? So when I'm going to call this as a class A, towards it left it is, so I call it as AL. Now it is towards the class right hand side, so I am going to call it as AR. Fine. The next thing was if I am going to have class B, then I split it. I will split into two halves. So one half I am going to call it as class B left, another I call it as class B right. So BR. Now I need to put with continuous values. I need to put it with continuous value. Therefore, I can call it as NAL, NAR, or I can call NBL, NBR. So, NA is equals to NAL plus NAR. NB is equals to NBL plus NBR. Got it? So there are number of classes what we mentioned. So one it is pointing to the left, another it is pointing to the right nodes. Okay. Now still clarification. What is PL? What is PR? Why we are calculating? So PL and PR, they are pointing out to the portion of data. They are pointing out to the portion of data. What is portion of data? 2000. Yes. No. 211. 1789. 211 is called as a portion. Yes. 1789 is called as a portion, called as no. So that's how we are going to bring up the subdivision, the split, the portion, whatever we call these items, they are going to be called as PL and PR. So how you are going to detect this item in a tree? How you are going to detect the items that is PL and PR in a tree? So how you are going to do it? So is there any special significance? Is there any special way of looking into this? Yeah, there is some special way of looking into this segment. Let us discuss. Total data set size is equals to 2000. Subscribed is equals to yes is equals to 211. Subscribed no is equals to 1789. Okay, this is the scenario. If we can't put this at this slide, it will be a big choice for us to discuss. Now, I want to compute the info gain. I want to compute the info gain, and K is big. There I can say the split is significance. Why did you make P outcome as more significant? Why didn't you break it education? Why didn't you break it at job? Why did you do it at P outcome? I have done it because when I made a split, the info gain value was 0.0289, which was relatively high than all the attributes. That is the reason why I made a split at a P outcome. This was the answer to be expected. Fine. Now, let us see how we can compute the K value, how we can compute n complement the class A with left node, the class A with the right node, then class B with the left node, class B with the right node. So P, we are going to call it as portion of data. What is NAL? What is NAL? So NAL, we are going to call class A left. Okay. So NBL, okay, I can call AR. Okay, so class A right. Okay, now let us start this. Now take the first split. This is the point what we are going to discuss. P outcome value, we say NA is equals to 1789. NB is equals to 211. Okay, 211, 1789. We got this. Now, 1789, I am going to call it as NA. Next one. We done with NA, NB. We have done with this. Next one, what to understand? We have to understand what is NAL is equals to 1763. How did you get this? And similarly, NAR that we are going to call, it is going to be 26. So we got this as 1789, right? NAL, NAR. So that's how we got this value. Similarly, I can take another tree with 211. 211, I am going to call it as NB. Then I can decompose into split into the two parts. One part I am going to call it with the 211 first split. I can call it as 179, and the another split I can call it as with 32. So 32 I am going to call it as NBR. 179 I am going to call it as NBL. So now you are aware of what is NA into L, NB into L, NA into L, NA into R. Now you are aware of the simple mathematics, how to compute n complement of L. So we got NAL, NBL, NAR, NBR. What are those values? 1737, 204, 51.881, 6.11. So these are the values, simple mathematics. Okay, so you know the values 179, 32, 1789, 211. So these are the different values. Now you know these values. So these values are posted here. Finally, I need to compute info gain. Finally, I need to compute info gain. So info gain, I am going to represent it with a variable called as K. How I am doing it? I am doing it as NAL complement minus NAL whole square divided by N complement AL. In this model, I take the four attributes regarding NAL, NAR, NBL, NBR. So finally, I get the value as 126.034, 126.0324. So this is towards the maximum. Therefore, it is significant. It is towards the maximum. So that is the reason why it was very, very significant. But if it is towards 0, then we call it as minimum and it is not significant. So I get the info gain, the purity value. So the split value, that it is 126.03, which is really a significant value. So we talked about splits and we talked about the info gain and how we are going to calculate the attribute for each and every value of an info gain. So here is another example where we can look for the record of the new client. So where we can look at the record of the new client. So we have this job, marital status, education, default, housing, loan, contact, duration, and outcome. The 9 value. Now, subscription is equals to no implies 1789. Subscription is equals to yes implies 211, 200. This is the fundamental. Until unless we get the starting point, we don't know why we made this root node as 1789. We are building it. The tree for the subscription is equals to no. For that we are building it. Now let us look at the condition with the duration is greater than or equals to 456. Yeah, duration is greater than or equals to 456, and contact, the seller contact. So what is seller contact? It can be mobile, it can be landline, or it can be unknown. So this is the class what we mentioned, and right now that person is a seller contact. So then this is depth is equals to 1, depth is equals to 2, depth is equals to 3, and depth is equals to 4. Now at 4 levels we are going to get the depth. So what was the duration? It was telling us it is greater than 456. We get this 174. So you can see 174, it is divided into 74 and 100. Similarly, you can have this 1789 based on duration is less than and greater than. So this is divided into 1650 plus 174. So who are no here and who are the yes part of that content, meeting that split condition, the decision point, we get this as a duration. Next one, we make a split at the contact. So contact is true or contact is false with some element, and thereby we take up the third aspect called as duration. It is less than or it is greater than the third aspect. And fourth one, it will be the job, what type of job it is, whether it is an entrepreneur or whether it is towards the retired. So in this way we dig deep to root level where the tree cannot be minimized at all. So up to there we are going to meet up to the maximum threshold of bringing up the tree. Next comes the value called as a decision tree algorithm. So we have in the market, there are a lot of decision tree algorithms like ID3, CART, so C3, etc. So C45, etc. See, there are some of the algorithms where the C4.5, etc. So there are different vendors, there are different variants of the decision trees, and we call multiple algorithms they are going to exist. So one of such kind, now we will discuss it with the ID3, that is called as an iterative dichotomizer, and it is going to be used for the decision tree algorithm, and it was developed by John Ross Q. And what this person he was initializing was, he take 3 values. The very first value was A, it is representing the categorical input value. For example, categorical means yes or no. Then it is taking up the outcome value, we call it as P. So this is called as an output value. We call it as prediction. We call it as prediction class. And the data set, we are taking it into first split, it will be the training set. So these are the three items before a decision tree was bringing up. So if it is going to be pi, okay, then phi, that means it is representing the null. Okay, so when it is representing the null, it means that there is nothing to go into the algorithm and execute. So we initially made this condition. If not, what we have to do is we have to go by tuple, record by record, and we need to identify the probability. We need to identify the prediction of the output variable for each and every single record and see whether it is going to satisfy. So first of all, we made with the training set, and then we work with the A. It is going to be with the input variables. It is going to be with the input variables. So it is going to return the most frequent value. So why we are finding this most frequent value was to identify the split, to identify where to construct the decision tree. Where means I can say which attribute. So which attribute we need to construct the decision tree. We need to get this into the scenario. For that, we are going to use the value called as a split. So we have already taken a procedure which will compute the entropy, then which will compute the info gain value. That is not confined to a single attribute in the training set. It need to be computed to all the 9 attributes for the previous example. So we have to compute the info gain. We have to compute the info gain for each and every attribute what we have